I think that's absolutely right. It's inefficiency rather than deliberation. And I agree with you. If you have a plan, you should actually have a plan as to what to do with the people that will inevitably leave. And they're being asked, please don't stay there because your lives will be in danger, so move. When they say, so move, they should actually say, so what? Where do we go? And that's where it's wrong.
Bob, you were a former UN commander. Surely if you were put in this position, you would want to make sure that they had somewhere to move to, or is that not your responsibility?
Well, in the ethnic cleansing I was involved with was slightly different insofar as it was not caused by the United Nations. However, as a result of ethnic cleansing, we certainly had very close liaison with the International Committee of the Red Cross and the United Nations High Commission for Refugees to ensure that the people that were being displaced by a war of which we were not meant to be involved, they had somewhere to go, or we tried to have somewhere. Now, I think that seems to be one of the missing elements of this plan, and I just can't understand why it's not there.
Let me be slightly cynical. If you tell people to leave their homes and go somewhere else, but you don't tell them where to go, they're not going to get comfortable where they're going. So they'll be only too happy to come back when they have a chance to come there. If you find them a nice place to go and give them nice little places to live in, they may prefer to stay there when they can get back.
If the people come to you and ask you, why should I leave? You want me to leave, you're fighting someone, who are you replacing them with?
Well, let me bring you back in on this, Fahim. I just want to move over to this clip just to check out some statistics from Operation Moshtarak, and then we'll come back to you.
Seven foreign armies are involved in Operation Moshtarak. They are the United States, United Kingdom, Denmark, Estonia, Australia, France and Canada. 15,000 soldiers make up the Western and Afghan forces. 5 of the brigades belong to Afghan forces, including members of the Afghan National Army, Afghan National Police, Afghan Border Police, and Afghan Gendarmerie. 6,000 American and Canadian troops from Task Force Kandahar are also involved in Moshtarak. 1,240 Afghan families have fled the military onslaught in Lashkar Gah. With the average size family being 7 in Afghanistan, that totals more than 8,600 men, women and children. 27 civilians travelling in a convoy of minibuses were killed by a NATO airstrike in Uruzgan province. Women and children were among the dead. This happened just days after 19 Afghan civilians died when US missiles were accidentally fired into a home as part of Operation Moshtarak in Afghanistan's Helmand province.
Well, back to you, Fahim. You know, we've seen those statistics, but I mean, those statistics represent people, don't they? Your people.
Yes. Well, my people would ask, why should you come here, replace the Taliban? Okay, what are we going to lose and what are we going to gain? I would just tell you something from our, the haute couture of our culture. We say in Afghanistan, di wujud wahi mi gotsawa parwa mi nashta. Khode izzat khayal mi sata di pakhtano watan de. It means, if you chop parts of my body, I don't care. But make sure you take care of or respect my honor. Now, there, for the past 8 years, Afghans have been watching the mass murders in Mazar-e-Sharif, the wrong bombings, the kidnaps, the killings, the torture, the human rights violations, the cases of Saima, the 12-year-old girl in the north being, gang raped. Okay, we removed the Taliban, but are the people ready to accept human rights violators to be their masters? Are they ready to accept mass murderers to be their masters? The government in the box has the United States, NATO, and their allies, and the Afghan government guaranteed that they are going to be nice people, clean people, proper politicians with clear history, not mass murderers, not human rights violators. How could they accept such a figure to be in the box and come and replace the Taliban?
What you're saying actually is that some of the people that are actually in power now are mass murderers, not all of them.
True, most of them.
Not most.
I would say
some.
most. Most
so
in the government.
Be specific as to who you're saying.
Well, I'm not
no,
saying
let's not
specific.
be
I'm not specific because I'm not going to be
Let's not name
specific.
names at this stage. But
No, if you want to be
names,
specific,
I mean groups.
Well, if you want to be specific, it's very simple. Go to Human Rights Watch, Amnesty International, Afghan Human Rights Watch. They have got the list of over, 500-600 very powerful people in Afghanistan, and they have committed so many atrocities and crimes. Now, the people
So you're
you
talking
tell
about
them.
the warlords then?
Well, obviously yes. Not only warlords, there are other human rights violators.
You're not actually directly accusing NATO.
Well,
Well, they are supporting them. That's what I'm saying. This is the unfortunate thing. Let me just finish here. That the people would say, okay, you bring me school, but what about, are you guaranteeing the honor of my daughter? This is the most important and striking point for Afghans. This is what I say, this is the haute couture of our culture. The people cannot accept. Okay, and then who are you going to be? Okay, the local Taliban, they're not committing. You have seen them yourself. The local Taliban are not that bad. All Afghans would say, this is the saying from my people, from this heart of Helmand. They're saying, okay, we don't want the Taliban, as you say, but we don't want you either. We have seen all the atrocities, all the past 8 years' experiences. What's going on? Why are you supporting these people and making me hostage for them?
For his view, because I know that you aren't a big fan of the Karzai government, are you?
No, I think it's corrupt and incompetent. And I think it's very wrong for the Allies to have to send their young men and women to Afghanistan to die in order to prop up a corrupt and incompetent government. And the more soldiers we send, the less President Karzai will commit his own troops. Why should he? If we're fighting his war for him, why should he commit his own troops? Personally, I think what is happening in Operation Mushtarak is a gigantic public relations exercise, which is going to result, yes, in the Taliban being removed from that area because they will just fade away and become civilians temporarily. Victory will be declared, and the army will begin to come back. President Obama said that quite plainly. Come the middle of 2011, he'll start withdrawing his troops. And he'll withdraw his troops because he will say, we have cleared the Taliban out of this area. We're carefully ignoring the fact that there are insurgencies going all over Afghanistan. Other groups are fighting in other parts of Afghanistan. We carefully blanket that out of any discussion of Afghanistan so we can pretend that we've won. I think this is a very sensible policy. We drive them out of one area, we say we've won, and we leave.
Do you think that the priority at the moment with Obama is winning hearts and minds at home or in Afghanistan?
I'm not sure what his priorities are, quite honestly. I think he gave in rather too readily to the generals, rather than listening to his own ambassador that said don't send more troops. And having given in to the generals, he now wants to see how he can get out. Well, the last thing he wants is to fight an election in 2012 with body bags coming home every week.